Hello. Today we remember the passing of Holy Father St Benedict. He died apparently after receiving the Eucharist in the arms of his monks, and it is said that how some saw his soul ascend to heaven, and an angelic figure, proclaim how valuable St Benedict was. The Benedictine influence has been immeasurable. Even in the Book of Common Prayer, you can see how this pattern of living is repeated and repeated. He is responsible for taking a rule called the rule of the master, a pre-existing rule, and making it a little bit more user-friendly, I think is the word we'd use today. St Benedict is about moderation and binding things together. There is in Christianity, particularly Catholic Christianity, a sense of orthodoxy, and there's also a sense of orthopraxy, so believing the right things and doing the right things. And these get bound together in St Benedict. It's a particular Anglican virtue to be pragmatic about one's faith. It has to work, and St Benedict would certainly be the lens through which that operates, because you read the rule and you see this wonderful pattern. Now is the time for prayer, now is the time for study, now is the time for work. Everything gets regulated, and it always gets regulated with a complete reasonableness. I read a chunk of the rule every day, a bit of a chapter. The passage I read this morning essentially spoke about the food and when to dine, and how St Benedict said, well, look, don't just have one cooked dish, have two cooked dishes, because people are weak. And if you've got your monastery can do fresh fruit and veg, there's a third dish there, so everybody's happy. For St Benedict, the problem he found in keeping a monastery going was murmuring, this sort of sniping, this the Jews have a lovely word for it, the kvetching. I think it's just glorious. This is what St Benedict sees as the ruin of this binding together of a community, a binding together of orthodoxy and orthopraxy, a binding together of rule and human frailty. And that's what he does. He binds things together. Not only does he bind together, what does he bind together with? He binds them together with that sense of devotion to God. I've been writing for some time now about how Anglican Catholic moral theology works, and we recognise that we have three conversations in the Anglican Catholic Church. There's our conversation with Orthodoxy, there's a conversation with Roman Catholicism, and there's the conversation with Anglicanism, the Church of England. And Orthodoxy is present, the Roman Catholic Church, with its very rational sense of doctrine. The Anglican Church with its sense that things must work. that's what St Benedict wants to bind together. How does he bind together? Well, he binds it with what the Orthodox Church recognise. That is theosis. That the destiny of mankind is to become like God. And so you bind the orthodoxy together with the orthopraxy. You bind belief with doing together with a devotion to God. It has to happen in love, and it has to happen in respect of our destiny to be like God. That's St Benedict's genius that sort of informed monasticism the world over in all branches of the Catholic Church. And it's why I love the Benedictine influence in my life. As a Benedictine oblate, I find myself regularized, grounded, and yet permitted to look up. For St Benedict, humility is so very fundamentally important. We are human beings. We are grounded, humus. Not the sort of the stuff you dip your salad in, but humus in the sense of ground. But we are not just creatures of the ground. We are also creatures of the spirit as well, the soul. And he recognises that as well. Again, we are bound together. And St Benedict wants us to be bound together. We are human beings. We are rational creatures. We are body and soul. This is where the word religion comes in. The word religion, the lig bit, as I've often said and written, lig, same sort of root as the word, same root as the word ligature, a binding together. So a religion is something that binds us, and binds us together as community, and it binds us together with God. It means that we must accept limitation. For a community to work, it must accept limitation, it must accept the authority of the rule. Orthopraxy is limited by orthodoxy. But the same way, you have to realise that human beings can't always do the things that they're supposed to do. If I look at my own celebration of the Mass, for example, it's not going to fit Ritual Notes edition 11 perfectly. It can't do, because I don't have the facilities. I don't have an entire school of acolytes traipsing after me. I don't have the vestments, all the vestments necessary. I don't have a pink chasuble, for example. So I should say rose chasuble, for example. But St Benedict says, well, you might not be able to satisfy the letter of Ritual Notes, which in itself is there to help regulate how things get said. But we have to recognise that there must be a practical element. We can't always do what we want to do, but we make the best job that we can. We have to be practical. So that means that orthopraxy has to inform orthodoxy. And, as I say, what's the thing that binds together? We believe and we do because we love God, and we desire His destiny for us. That's what we see in St Benedict through and through. The rule seems hard to the beginning. I remember when I first read the rule, I thought, oh my goodness, how on earth am I going to even approach the spirit of this? But the more I read of it, the more reasonable it becomes. Even the idea of excommunicating a monk from table, you realise that it has to do with the protection of the community and the health of the monk who's willfully erring. He's not doing it to be nasty, he's not doing it to punish, he's doing it in order to bring people back into community. This is why I am very grateful to God for allowing me to become a Benedictine oblate, and particularly to the little community in Salisbury as it winds down, that the community to which I'm oblated, if that's a word, where I made my oblation. St Benedict has a lot still to teach us in this day and age, and I really do think that we need to be getting back to his teaching in order to bring our entire society back into a good, God-fearing community where right belief and right action are bound together in the devotion to our Almighty and glorious Father. So God bless you. God bless you if you're sort of feeling a bit lost and isolated from community. God bless you that you may be received into a community which has your interests at heart and will help you to draw nearer in perfection to Christ. God bless you if you are seeking to understand the Benedictine rule in its spirit, that you may be nurtured by the history of so many wonderful Benedictine monks, and obviously the Benedictine offshoots such as Cistercianism and Trappists, etc. God bless you that you too may become a member of the great community of heaven, that wonderful, wonderful idea in Revelation 21, the new creation. God bless you, and please pray for me.